Hey, sis. I know that you are really tired of not being able to save money, right? Well, stay tuned for three simple things that you can do to save your first $1,000. Hi, I'm Ebony Byrne, certified financial educator and money coach, and I help women rebuild their financial legacy after divorce. We are going to dive into three hacks that you can use that will help you save $1,000. Now, I know that we hear all the time the importance of saving and having an emergency fund. One of the things people really don't talk much about is a rainy day fund. A rainy day fund is an account that you have that is sort of a buffer account between your emergency fund and the rest of your life. Now, usually when we have an emergency, it's usually something big, right? Like you need to replace a transmission or a medical emergency, but there's all these other small things that can get in the way of us building our emergency fund. And that is where having a rainy day fund will come into place. The way that you would set this fund up, it is a separate savings account. And ideally, I typically recommend people have $1,000 in that fund. What happens usually is you're going to need it if you have to get new tires suddenly, or there's an event that your kid absolutely forgot to tell you about. This is what that emergency fund is for. The way that you would use a rainy day fund is you would set it up in a separate savings account. I recommend having $1,000 in that fund, and that is what will cover you in the event that you have a random thing that comes up. Typical random events are your kid told you they need to take a school trip and you don't have the money in your budget already, or you need to get tires because you hit a giant pothole. Those are going to be things that are not quite emergencies in the sense that you need to dip into your long term emergency fund. But this is something that's more of what sometimes people like to call an oh shit fund. I like to call them that because it's just a little sassy and it is a true statement because usually the thing that you say when you hear that you need to do that is, oh shit. So there are three steps that will help you save your money for this account. They're the same that you would use for most savings, but this is a separate reason, and we're going to start talking about those now. First, you want to know why you have this account. You're going to want to have this account for the same reasons we mentioned before, right? When small emergencies come up, minor things that happen, something typically that's going to be less than $1,000, this is what this account is going to be used for. We want to keep our emergency fund for those bigger things like you lose a job or you have a medical emergency or you have some other thing that is a big thing. A tree falls on your roof, something crazy, right? That is what we want to keep our emergency fund for. But our oh shit fund, that is going to be more for the smaller things. So you want to have a clear why for this account, and that will keep you from misusing it. The next thing that you want to do is you want to automate your savings. Now, the best way to make sure that you continuously add funds to this account is by automating it. Now, if your job gives you the ability to put money automatically into more than one or two accounts, perfect. This would be exactly what you need. A lot of jobs don't do that. So if your job is like that, then the best way to do that is to automate it directly from your bank account. You typically would just go into your bank account. You can do this digitally, or you can call and they can set it up for you. And you would set a transfer date. I highly recommend that that transfer date is the day after your payday. Now, the reason why I say do it after your payday and not exactly on payday is every now and again your payday changes if there's a holiday. And we don't want you to get into a situation where you're trying to move money and the money's not there because a holiday may happen or that particular date ends up being some sort of holiday or weekend or something like that. So that's why I recommend setting it for the day after and have that automatically transfer between your accounts. The bonus for automating it is that way it takes your brain out of it. A lot of times when we have to manually do something, other stuff's going to come up. If you know that you are trying to save $100 every paycheck to put into this fund until you get it to your stable amount, and you could also take that $100 and maybe go out to have a great happy hour with the girls, the odds are you're probably not going to put that money in savings if you could go out and enjoy it. So automate it to save yourself the trouble. And the third thing that we want to do is track our progress. One of the things that I have found to be very helpful for myself and for my clients is to have people use trackers. Now, you can use digital trackers that are on your phone, or you can use paper trackers. Personally, I love a printable tracker. That way, I can have it in my room, I can have it in my office, I can have it on my bathroom mirror, wherever I want to put it, so that way I can see it consistently. That way, every time I have reached a milestone, I can just color it in. And it gets to be something that gets to be fun because we engage that part of our mind that really likes a challenge. And most times people really, really respond better to tracking it. Now, you can do a digital tracker if that is how your mind works. If you feel that that's going to be more motivating for you, I am all for that. I offer printable trackers that are free that you can download. You can go right to my website, or there'll be a link to it in the description below. But I highly recommend getting some sort of tracker, whether it's mine or something you write out yourself on a piece of paper and just color in. Whatever it is, you definitely want to be tracking, because that is what is going to keep you motivated and keep you on task. I know that you're ready to start saving, but I want to give you a warning. Don't be too aggressive with your goals. Now, sure, could you maybe figure out a way to save $1,000 and do that within, I don't know, 3 months? Maybe, but that is not necessarily going to be sustainable. We want to make sure that what we're doing is going to make sense and not demoralize us. If you find that the reason that you're unable to save consistently is because you're usually dipping into your savings often before the next payday, that usually means that the amount that you've been putting aside is too aggressive. It is not built into your budget in the right way. So you want to make sure that you are being conservative, but also consistent. Consistency is more important than anything else that you're going to be doing. It is building that habit, and that is what is going to keep you going. It doesn't matter how much you're saving. What matters most is consistency. You want to make sure that whatever you're doing it consistently. So if you can only save $50 a month, that's absolutely fine. Divide that out, figure out how long it will take you to get to your goal, and then consistently do that. Every time you have that transaction go to the next account, fill it in. Fill it in your tracker, and you'll be surprised at how, once you start getting going and you start seeing all of those boxes filled in, you'll find ways to get more creative and start putting money in there because you want to fill those boxes in faster. All right. So if you're trying to figure out exactly how to figure out the best way to do this, what you would do is you would figure out how much you can comfortably put aside. So say it's $50. Then what you would do is you would divide 1,000 by 50. That will tell you how long it will take you to reach your goal. If that date feels too far away, then you have to adjust how much money you're saving. That's a simple process. Anyone can do it, and you can just go ahead and do it at any time. You don't have to wait until a new month. You don't have to wait until a new year. You can start whenever it's comfortable for you. Where would you keep this money? Now, I've seen people physically withdraw the cash and put the cash into like a savings box. They have these shadow boxes, or a jar, or an envelope. That's fine if that's going to help motivate you and keep you moving forward. If it's better for you to automate it by transferring that money out, that's fine too. If you prefer to use cash, the automated process would be taking yourself to the ATM or to the bank to get that amount of cash out every pay period. And then that is what will give you the amount to put away. So you get to choose your adventure, figure out what works best for you, and then go for it. So share in the comments below what you plan to do. Do you plan to automate it into a digital savings account, or are you going to pull cash? I'd love to hear. Share in the comments below.